Hey guys, it's Robyn, your independent Scentsy consultant. Welcome back and welcome if you're new. Today I have got warm reviews of all 5 Harvest bars, the new licensed bar, and the 10 new release scents for the fall and winter catalog for Scentsy. So if you're wanting warm reviews of those, I have them now. I did do cold sniffs and like cold reviews before. So if you haven't watched that, you might want to go back and watch that. If you don't, then we'll hop right into warm reviews here. So the difficult thing here is that all of these are really good. I've given all of these at least one warm now at this point, and there hasn't been a bad one in the entire bunch. Like, all of them are enjoyable bars for me. So we will kind of go through performance, how they did, strength, all of that. I'll let you know how they did in my home, and then towards the end of the video, we're gonna do like a little like wax awards thing, where we go through maybe the top few open layout worthy bars, top longest performers, that sort of thing. So if that's interesting to you, stick around. All of these will be available on September 1st on my website at Northernlightsglow.scentsy.ca. If you're in the US, you'll just have to change the country to US, and then you're good to go. So we will just kind of hop in here. Let's do the Harvest bars first. So I have these ranked in order of most preference to least preference. And again, there's none, like least preference does not mean bad here. Least preference in most cases means I really enjoyed it. So let's just hop in here. My favorite of the Harvest collection did change on warm, and my favorite ended up being Forever Fall. This one is baked pumpkin, cinnamon stick, and brown sugar. On cold, I really like this one as well. It kind of smelled like a authentic like pumpkin that had been cleaned out, cut in half, and then sugar and cinnamon kind of put on top and baked. And that is what this was on warm too. This was a very, very homey scent and strong. If you have a large open layout, this one should do the trick. This one was very, very, very strong. In fact, I went out for a couple hours in the evening, went out, came home, opened my car door, and I could smell it as soon as I opened my car door in the driveway. This was wafting. The window was a little bit open, but even still, this did amazingly strong in my open layout. So one thing I will say, it wasn't as long as maybe average. I would say on average, Scentsy bars last about 24 hours in my open layout. This one was a bit shy of that, maybe like 18 hours. But such a strong performer, I forgive it. This will probably be a club scent for me. Overall, it was very like true to cold sniff, I would say. Very strong, very, I don't want to say squashy, because that will scare you, but it was like if you had taken a pumpkin, cleaned the guts out, cut the pumpkin in half, and then baked it with brown sugar and cinnamon. And what you're smelling is the baked pumpkin, not the raw pumpkin. So this was very like homey, rustic, cozy, and strong. I really, really like this. I think this has good mixing potential as well, although I don't think I even want to mix it. I just love this on its own. So Forever Fall, winner in my book. My next favorite one of the Harvest collection was Cashmere Leaves. This one is apple, falling leaves, and cashmere spice. This one is so, so, so pretty. I think this might have been my favorite on cold. And this is beautiful. The apple in here is gorgeous. It's like this gently spiced apple. There's just the right amount of spice. It's a nice, sweet, baked apple to my nose, especially on warm. And the cashmere is just like a little tiny bit of coziness. I really like this. The issue I had with this one was performance. I did the whole bar in my open layout, and I would say it was like a maybe 4 to 10 in strength, so like light medium. That being said, I did have the windows open that day. So I think this will do a lot better in either smaller spaces like bedrooms or in the cooler months when your house is closed up tight for the winter. So windows are closed, all of that good stuff's happening. There's not as much airflow, because I think this one did struggle because of that. Now that being said, windows were open on the day I did Forever Fall too, and that one didn't struggle. So this one is, I think, just a little bit of a lighter performer, but I think it will do just fine in my open layout in the fall months. And that's, I guess, one thing to keep in mind too, is this is based on one warm on one day in my house. The conditions are going to vary from now until fall. So that's one thing to keep in mind too, is that I was warming these on warmer days, under warmer conditions. So sometimes scent appeal changes over the season too. Different scents might appeal to you in the cooler months than they do in the warm months. And also just warming performance can vary by season as well. So Cashmere Leaves, I would say, was light medium in intensity and about an average duration. It did about 24 hours quite nicely, but I think it will do better in the cool months. I really, really, really like this one. This one, if I can get it to perform just a little bit stronger in the fall, will be a club bar for me. Love it. And again, it's this like warm, appley, almost verging on bakery scent, but if you're not a bakery fan, I think you'll still enjoy this. This is just a nice classic cozy fall scent. Loved Cashmere Leaves. Next up, we had White Pumpkin and Driftwood. Maybe this was my favorite. I think this might have been my favorite on cold when I did the cold sniffs. White Pumpkin and Driftwood moved to kind of the middle of the pack for me on warm. This is White Pumpkin, Driftwood, White Cardamom, and Warm Solar Amber. This is a great bar. Even though it's middle of the road, this is a great bar. So this one is a little bit masculine. It does have a pumpkin element, and it's almost like a slightly bakery pumpkin. It also has quite a cologne-y, like woodsy amber type note to it, which is kind of an interesting mix. On warm, this was pretty. It was maybe a 5 out of 10, like a light medium, maybe verging towards medium. And duration was about 24 hours. The second day, so like on that like 18 to 24 hour stretch, this did turn quite cologne-y. The pumpkin kind of died down at that point. The bakery notes kind of left. And what I was left with was this very white amber antique style cologne type scent, which wasn't my favorite phase. So I much preferred this early in the warm, when that kind of bakery element was mixed in as well. It was really, really good. Yeah, and this one again, I did have windows open when I warmed this, and it was about a 5 out of 10. So it may do better in cold months with closed windows. Yeah, so strength, about average, duration, about average. So performance was standard, but scent appeal for me was decent, quite good. I will repurchase this. I don't know that it's going to be a club bar for me just because I don't tend to care for those masculine scents, but if you're looking for something just a little bit more unisex or a little bit more masculine even, or something kind of cozy and that just feels very upscale, this is that. This would be really pretty in a bedroom, I think, as well, to bring kind of a fall element to the bedroom while still being kind of like perfumey. So that is White Pumpkin and Driftwood. I would recommend trying this for sure. Next, we have a controversial bar in my house. This is Dutch Apple Bread. This is fresh sliced apple, warm cinnamon, and rolled oats with brown sugar. This one I thought would be a home run for me, and it isn't. So this one, not bad, again, just not what I thought. So this one has a very, very warm apple pie filling type scent. It is warm apple pie, and that gets even kind of nicer and more complex on warm. So that apple note is beautiful, and it gets even better on warm. There is an odd, I don't know what, to this bar as well in the background, and I'm not sure if it is a spice note. I think it's a spice note. I think it's something about that warm cinnamon. This is not a bakery cinnamon. This is some other kind of cinnamon, and it does change on warm. So this one, I put in my office 2 cubes at first, and really liked it. It kind of bloomed on warm. It did get nice and appley and great and cozy cuddly. I was really happy with it at that point. My husband came home and was like, "Did you get Indian food for dinner?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "It smells like our Indian restaurant in your office." And I was like, "What?" But he thought it was like butter chicken and basmati rice. That's what it smelled like to him. And I was like, "No way, it does not smell like that at all. It smells like apples. You're out of your mind." So next morning, I walk by there and I'm like, "Whoa, it smells like basmati rice." Yep. I could smell it the second day, what he smelled the first day. It does have kind of a like savory Indian spice note. And I do get that scent as well from pumpkin chai. So I think there might be some chai spices in here that maybe aren't in the notes. Just similar ones to like pumpkin chai. And that would have that kind of like maybe cardamom or those kind of warm aromatic Indian spices. I do think those are in here, and they did come out, especially towards the second day for me. Now that being said, I warmed this again, other 6 cubes in the open layout, and I got less of that. And I don't know why. Bigger space, maybe it just kind of breathed more, but it was still that nice kind of warm appley tone, and I didn't get as much of the rice. I could still kind of get that sense if I was looking for it, but not as strongly. So if you're looking for a kind of less bakery scent and want a nice warm kind of spiced apple scent, this may be worth trying. If you're a diehard bakery lover looking for a super foodie, decadent, oatmeal, apple, drizzly bread, this is not it. This is not that. I was kind of picturing something more like what they have on the label here, kind of like a glazed like situation. This isn't that sweet, which I like, but I'm not getting any of those oats that I wanted. I'm getting very much pie filling. Pie filling is the note, and it has that kind of interesting spice profile. So I'm not sure about this one. I will play with this more, but it did kind of go quite a bit down in my book on warm, despite improving on warm somehow. So this was a very confusing scent warming wise. So try it for yourself and see what you think. If you have tried this, I would love to hear what your thoughts were below. Next up for me, this was last in my cold sniffs and it stayed last. This is Fall Into Love. This is a very good scent. There's nothing wrong with this scent, just FYI. Performance was good, scent is good. This is fresh orange peel, cool eucalyptus, and sweet balsam. This one is going to be very popular, I think. This one reminds me of a few things. On warm, this became a very, and again, I get berry here. I said that on cold, and I felt the same on warm. I'm smelling berry. It smells like blackberry or black raspberry, or maybe red berries. There's some kind of berry note here, in addition to that orange peel. So this kind of reminds me on warm of like red berry and spruce, of Just For You, and of a little bit icicles and evergreen, but less tree. So this one was really pretty. It's kind of a bright fruity tree scent. It's nice for like transition from fall to winter, I would say. I would say November, perfect time to warm this. Yeah, it was about a medium strength, maybe like a 6 out of 10, pretty decent, and about a 1-day performance. So about average performance in total. And scent appeal for me was just, this isn't my kind of scent. I don't typically do tree scents. I think if you enjoyed tree scents, if you liked red berry and spruce, which I did, or Just For You, which I did, if you don't have those, this would be a great substitute. So if you're missing those bars, try this. If you liked Pretty and Plaid, this might be a substitute. It's not nearly as perfumey as that one was. And Icicles and Evergreen, again, this is not nearly as perfumey as that was, but it does have a little bit of something, a little bit perfumey. So if you're missing any of those scents, Fall Into Love might be one for you. If you like tree scents in general, or trees and berries, or trees and orange, you may want to try this one too. Again, performance was pretty average. It was, and I mean, by average, I mean good. For Scentsy, performance is usually quite good. So about 24 hours and about a medium strength is what I mean by average. So that's good. So yeah, that one was good. Not a repurchase for me just because I don't care for this type of scent generally, but this is a good tree scent. So just to recap the Harvest collection, 2 of those are going to be club bars for me most likely. One will be a definite repurchase, and one of them will be a likely repurchase, and one of them will be a pass, but still enjoying what I have of it. So not too bad as a collection. I would recommend trying the 5 of them, honestly. So there are those. Frightfully Delightful. Did 2 cubes in my daughter's bedroom. She loved this. So this one on warm went way more gimme candy again. So on cold, this kind of reminded me a little bit of like Caramel Pear Crisp. And on warm, it was more like gimme candy with just a hint of the same nectarine or peach note from Caramel Pear Crisp. So if you liked Caramel Pear Crisp, or if you like gimme candy, you're gonna like this one. It was very sweet, very, very sweet on warm, good performer. This one was a 2-day scent. It did really well in her bedroom. I would say like 6 or 7 out of 10 in strength. It was really good. This will be fun to mix with. It's fun on its own. I don't know if I'll purchase more. I do have this and 1 more bar left. That might be enough for me, but this is really nice and performance was good. So if you're interested in a kind of like bakery toned, like caramel peach scent, this would be one to try. And I would say probably open layout worthy for most places. My house, this would be open layout worthy. Yeah, performance was good. Next we have the 10 new catalog scents, and I did warm all of those. And we're gonna go from, again, number 10 to number 1. And my number 10 is gonna be a lot of people's number 1. This was kind of a, I don't know what happened here for me. It just wasn't for me, but I think this is gonna be a popular one. So if you are into spice, if you're into orange and spice, this is one for you. And I typically do like those scents, but this one for some reason just rubbed me the wrong way. But this one, out of this whole video, is the only one I will not repurchase. I'm gonna struggle to get through the bar. This one is Fall Feelin'. This is fresh blood orange and sugared cranberry, cozy up with juniper sprigs and a dash of sparkling clove on a crisp fall day. So this one, I don't know. Yeah, on Cold, this is kind of a very, very spiced orange scent with a little bit of like woodsiness to it. On warm, this became a very, very strong spiced orange that kind of like hit me in the back of the throat. The clove, I think, is what kind of got me on this one. This was very, very strong, kind of just a very choke you out spiced orange scent, quite heavy on the spice. And the orange note here was not my favorite. It was very acidic, kind of bitter, kind of acrid, not a favorite of mine. The second day, and this did perform very well. It did go for 2 days. And like I would say 6 or 7 out of 10 in strength. You could probably do this in an open layout quite nicely. Second day, it was more like something like Autumn Road Trip, but darker, danker, and woodsier. So Autumn Road Trip is quite a bright, fresh air, sunny fall day scent. Outdoorsy, you got the leaves, you got all that stuff. This one was more earthy. Those leaves are brown, they are crispy, they're getting a little bit of that leaf mold to them. They are dank. That is what I got from here. I can see how some people are gonna love this. I think if you like leaves from Bath & Body Works, which I do, if you would be okay with something quite a bit earthier and spicier, you may really like Fall Feelin'. I think if you're into really classic fall scents, and again, I am, you may really like this. This is just one that for me, I think is a pass. But I think for most people, this is gonna be a crowd pleaser, very good performer, good duration, and it does kind of change throughout the warm. It goes from kind of this like orange forward spice scent to a kind of outdoorsy, woodsy scent over time. So there is Fall Feelin'. Midnight Mahogany. This one is black plum and cinnamon leaf brighten up dark mahogany on a secluded moonlight stroll. So this one I did 3 cubes in my bedroom and 1 cube in my bathroom. So 4 cubes total. And this one, again, on cold is kind of a sweet, dark scent. On warm, this was very much the same. I don't feel like this really changed much on warm, so what you smell is what you get more or less with this bar. There is a note on the back of this bar especially that kind of reminds me of, not furniture polish, but like polished furniture. So not just straight up furniture polish, but like mahogany furniture that has been polished recently. So it's very austere, very like elegant, very fancy, kind of has that smell to it. This would be beautiful in like a library or any space with like real dark wood. I think that would be beautiful. I don't have that home. Like my home doesn't have dark wood. I have a lot of like white accents. So it doesn't really match my house, but I can see how this would be beautiful in the right space. And I did enjoy it. So this is one I may repurchase. I did enjoy it. And I would say performance on this one was light medium, like maybe a 4 verging on 5 out of 10, and long lasting. So it may not be super strong. It's not going to knock you out when you walk into a room, but it is going to go for a couple days. So that is Midnight Mahogany. So nice performance on that. Next we have Red Currant Wreath. Now this one went down on warm for me, and that's just because of the, well, we'll get to that. The notes are red currant and winter berries spice up interwoven evergreen and sandalwood branches. Now, sandalwood is what comes out here on warm, especially towards day 2. Again, this one has done 2 days in my home. I did 2 cubes in the office. I would say medium strength. You could probably do this in an open layout in most cases, unless your open layout is very large. This one starts out, what you smell is what you get. The berry note you're smelling a lot of on cold does go away fairly quickly. Those berries do kind of wear off quite quickly, and the sandalwood and the wood notes come out quite a bit more. This ends up being, I would say, quite close to like cedar cider. So if you're a fan of cedar cider and you would like a berry version instead of the apple version that is cedar cider, this is really pretty. This is kind of like a dressed up for the holidays cedar cider. So very, very nice, very elegant, very upscale smelling. I really like this. Yeah. This to me kind of leans Christmas or winter at least, maybe even January after the holidays. I would say day 2 though, that sandalwood comes out front and center. You are getting this sandalwoody, cedary type smell. And is there cedar in the notes? Evergreen. I smell cedar too. Yeah, I think if you're a woodsy fan, this would be one to check out for sure. It is in the spice category. I would say it's more woodsy than spicy. There is a tiny bit of spice, but I'm smelling more woods. But yeah, very, very pretty scent. If you're into holiday scents, if you're into woodsy, if you like berry scents and are okay with woodsy, I would say this is one to try. But this is going to be really, really pretty in the wintertime, before or after the holidays. That's a nice one. So there is that. And will I repurchase this? Probably. I will probably repurchase this. I'm going to enjoy this probably in the open layout towards the holidays. Then we have one that went kind of down, not because the scent went down, but because other scents went up. So this was my #1 pick, I think. Is that right? This was my #1 or #2 pick on cold. This one went down to #7 for me, not because it like decreased in scent appeal, but because the other ones went up so much. So this one is really, really good. This is Palo Santo and Cinnamon. Palo Santo energizes Italian bergamot, accented with clove leaf and cinnamon bark. Now on cold, this was gorgeous, upscale, everything else. It stayed that way on warm. This is another scent where what you smell is what you get. It did not change a whole lot on warm at all. Very much what you smell is what you get, and it stayed that way all through the warm. So if you're a person who likes your scent to kind of stay consistent from beginning to end, this is going to be the bar for you. This one is almost like a woodsy, gingery, and I would say like fresh ginger, if anything. A woodsy and like maybe slightly smoldery. I hesitate to say smoky because I don't really get smoky. I get something kind of just smoldery. However, I think if you're sensitive to smoke notes, you're going to smell it in here. It's not overly heavy on the Palo Santo though. So if you're scared of Palo Santo, I wouldn't be. This is a very beautiful, very expensive smelling scent. This smells like it belongs in a Crate and Barrel or like a really, really luxury end home goods store. Yeah, so this one, very, very pretty. And I would say 6 or 7 out of 10 in strength. And again, 2 days minimum. I took it out after 2 days, but it could have still gone longer, honestly. So this is going to be a very good performer, especially if you like to just kind of have a wax that you set and it just kind of putters along for a while. This one was good that way. It kind of stayed a consistent strength and a consistent scent for quite a while. So that I highly recommend as a good performer and a very, very great scent. This is unlike anything Scentsy has ever done. I love this. I think my thing with it, the reason it came down is just because this doesn't smell like my house. And I've said that a few times about a few scents. This smells beautiful and it smells like someone's house that I want to go visit, but it doesn't smell like my house. So I'll enjoy this. I'll warm the rest of it. And I probably will repurchase this. It is a very good bar. But it's just, I don't know. It doesn't smell like my house. So we'll see. And this does seem like a bar that will probably be more appealing in the cooler months. So on a hot day, I could see this being kind of maybe, that's when I warmed it. It was a hot day. This may be more appealing to me in the fall, but highly recommend trying Palo Santo and Cinnamon for everybody. It's so hard to describe. I think you really need to smell it to kind of get a sense for it. So definitely try out Palo Santo and Cinnamon. Next, we have #6 on my list. This is Frosty Air. This went from 10th place all the way to 6th, so it jumped way up. This is sweet citrus and lily of the valley. Stay fresh in a flurry of frosty air. So this is a floral laundry scent. Yes, and on cold, not my favorite. It wasn't my favorite on cold at all. It was #10 for me. On warm, gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. It really softens on warm somehow. I did this in my laundry room and I did it in our bathroom. In our bathroom, you would walk in and just be like, oh, it's nice in here. It's just nice. It is soft and cozy cuddly, but still floral clean. It is like a cuddly cozy winter version of like Clothesline. It's very similar to Clothesline or like Clean Breeze, but cozy is how to explain it, I guess. It's nice. It's like you took maybe like 10% fluffy fleece and mix it with Clothesline. It just softens the edges a bit, just a little bit fluffy. Yeah, this was nice. Performance was good. So in my laundry room, this went for like 4 days. Not as strong all the way along, of course, but it started out like maybe a 7 or 8 out of 10, nice and strong, and kind of went down to like maybe a 2 or 3 on day 4. Very good though. And my bathroom had a window open in there, so it was maybe a 6 out of 10 in there, and did about 2 days. So performance is good, better than average, and it's a very good bar. If you like laundry scents, you're gonna like this. If you like fluffy fleece, I would give this a try. It's not as cuddly cozy as fluffy fleece, but give it a warm. because this one is one that it does change a lot on warm. This is one you really have to get into the warmer dishes to experience, because I would have written this off entirely on cold. Did not care for this on cold at all. Just not for myself, but on warm, beautiful. I'm gonna enjoy this. I'll probably repurchase this. It will take me a long time to go through a bar because I only warm it in bathrooms in the laundry room, but this is one I would have purchased. I would highly recommend if you like fresh scents or if you like laundry scents. That one I think would be open layout worthy as well. In my 5th place, we have Me Snickerdoodle. This is the bakery bar, the lone bakery bar for this season in the catalog for new releases. This is homemade cookie dough sweetened with brown butter and vanilla bean, rolled in sugared cinnamon and baked to perfection. So this one on cold, I thought smelled like cinnamon buttercream minus the mascarpone cheese note. This one also changed a lot on warm. This is one that, again, you have to get into the warmer because it changes a whole bunch on warm. Yes. So this one, as soon as it hit the warmers, I got a lot of like a maple tone. And that eventually, it's kind of the same maple tone as the maple that was in Vanilla Maple Glaze last fall. That particular maple note, which is a very sweet, like maple donut type maple. It's a very, very pretty scent. So that's kind of what came out here initially. After maybe 6 or 8 hours, that kind of turned to more of a caramelized sugar note, which again was very, very nice. Kind of reminded me of the caramelized sugar note in Gimme Candy. This is not nearly as sweet as Gimme Candy. This is much more mellow and subdued than that. But just kind of that same caramelized sugar note came out. This does have a cookie dough note to it. And I would say it's cookie dough. I don't get baked cookie, I get cookie dough. Not a whole lot of spice, but just a little bit of like gentle cinnamon. Really, really nice, really pretty, better than I expected on warm. So this is one where I thought it was just okay on cold, but on warm, this one really bloomed. I was happy. I think this lends itself very well to mixing. If you are missing cinnamon buttercream, this may do the job. It's not gonna be as similar as I thought it was gonna be, based on the cold sniff. If you liked Vanilla Maple Glaze from last fall, I think you need to try this. And if you like Gimme Candy, try this. This is much more mellow than that. If you don't like Gimme Candy, don't panic. I don't think it's similar enough that you're gonna dislike this too. Yeah. Performance, I would say, was like 3 or 4 out of 10, so like a light medium in my bedroom with 2 cubes. And, well, I don't know about that. I would say maybe closer to like a 4 or 5, actually. Maybe a 3 or 4 towards the end of the warm, but I would say it started out more like a 4 or 5. You could walk in and easily smell it. So yeah. Duration, I think it was closer to 24 hours. It was not a long-lasting bar, but very nice. And I think this will age well too. I think those caramel sugar notes and vanilla notes are going to develop even more. It's going to be good. So I enjoyed this. I will repurchase this. It's not like a wow me out of the park bakery, but it's a good bakery. I think people are going to enjoy this. And I think if you're not like a diehard bakery fan, you may still enjoy this because it is just kind of a gentle, soft, spicy, slightly mapley to my nose scent. And if you're scared of maple, it's not the nose hair singeing maple that some of the bars have. This is just kind of a sweet maple donut type scent. So there's that one. Next up in 4th place, we have Golden Garland. This is forest pine needles intertwined with marigold petals, sparkling orange twist, and a touch of golden musk. This one had been kind of like towards the middle bottom of my pile on cold. It went up on warm. This was gorgeous. So on cold, this kind of smells like a winter version of Scarlet Sunflower. On warm, it does change a bit. It stays a bit true to scent, but I would say the marigold note here, or at least the note that I think is marigold, the kind of slight floral note here, does kind of dissipate on warm, and that pine tree or pine needle note comes up a little bit. But there is enough here to balance it. It's not just straight up pine tree. It's not just a tree scent. This does have more to it. I think you do smell more of the musk and the orange here on warm as well. And I really like the combination of orange with pine needles. That always just works well for my nose. So if you were a fan of sweet orange and evergreen, you'll probably enjoy this. Are they the same? No. This has more of a body care, not even body care, but like a perfumey, musky, like, yeah, almost like a perfumey, musky tone. Less just straight up pine tree and orange. This is a more fancy version of that, I would say. It was really good. I found it very strong. It was like an 8 out of 10 in my bathroom. So this would be very open layout worthy, I would say. And as soon as I walked into that bathroom, I did the 1 cube in there. As soon as I walked in, it was just being like flooded with Christmas memories. It was like, okay, Christmas tree, stockings, like just like hitting the head with Christmas. So it was a good one. I'm gonna enjoy the heck out of that in the winter. It made me want to put my Christmas tree up. This one to me reads holiday. Yeah, I didn't think it would. On cold, it seems like it could be more of just a winter or after Christmas scent, but on warm, this one did read Christmas to me. So there is that one, Golden Garland. And yeah, I would say definitely mostly pine tree, but just a very, very pretty, sweet, well-blended pine tree scent. I will repurchase that. Next up, we have Dashing. This was, I think, my number 1 spot. I think it was this one and then Palo Santo, but on cold. It came down to number 3 on warm. So Dashing is irresistible vanilla and creamy mahogany will leave you swooning under fresh night skies. So vanilla, mahogany, and night skies. This one is, again, hard to describe. There's a lot of vanilla here. There's also something very sweetly perfumey, not overly so. There is some woodsiness here, but it's not a woodsy woodsiness, it's just kind of a depth. And on warm, this was very much the same as it is on cold. I would say this one did not change much at all on warm. So what you smell is what you get with this one too. Yeah, this one was soft, like 3 to 4 out of 10 with the 2 cubes. Next time I would double the wax. If you're gonna use this one, I would recommend doubling the wax for a bedroom. So next time I will use 4 cubes. With the 2 cubes, it was light. I would say 3 out of 10 in strength, but it did go for 2 days. So I do like those scents where maybe they are a bit lighter, because sometimes for the bedroom you want a bit of a lighter scent. You don't necessarily want an extremely strong scent in your bedroom all the time. And if you do, you can double the wax. But the two cubes did go for 2 days, so that's pretty good. Better than average for duration, not as strong as average, but sometimes that's what you want, and you do have the option to double the wax as well. But duration was great. So Dashing is one I would definitely repurchase. And this again feels like one to me where I'm gonna love this so much more in the cooler months. Like this is gonna be a go-to bedroom scent for like October through February, I would say. Beautiful. And I think this one's gonna age really well too. I think if you bought this now and set it aside, you're gonna find it that much better and that much stronger next season. So that is Dashing. That's a good one. I do see this one being a crowd pleaser. I think if you liked Ravenclaw, Wit, and Wisdom, you'd probably like this. I think if you hated Ravenclaw, you're probably still gonna like this. Ravenclaw did have a very particular note to it that this one does not have. So I think the note that people struggle with in Ravenclaw is not here, but it does have the very beautiful vanilla note that it did have. What else does this remind me of? Kind of reminds me of almost like a suede type note. I think if you like the suede and the leather blends, you're probably gonna like this. Not that this is leathery in any way, but I think if you like those, you'll probably like this as well. It's just that kind of scent. So Dashing is a winner. And again, lighter performance, but longer lasting. So there's that one. I would say bedrooms for that one. I wouldn't do open layout for Dashing. Next we have Cranberry and Cardamom in my number 2 spot. This is bold cherry and white cranberry mingle in a festive celebration with a hint of warm cardamom. Now this one on cold was just straight up Black Cherry Merlot from Bath & Body Works to me. That was not the case on warm. This one did change quite a bit on warm too. Yeah. The cherry note in this became much more realistic, much prettier, and much less strong on warm. I would say the cranberry was the primary note here on warm. So on cold, I smell a lot of that really thick syrupy cherry. On warm, it is much more like very merry cranberry, but dressed up and a little bit more sophisticated. I love this. Did 2 cubes in my daughter's room, and this just made me want to put the entire bar in my open layout. I really like this. This will be very nice for like November through January, open layout worthy. Nice performance. I would say 7 out of 10 in her bedroom in strength, and I can't remember it being that long. I think it was like 36 hours. Nothing crazy for duration, but a little bit better than average on performance in general. So good performer, and that is the one thing I've seen in this bunch. It seems to be a bunch of pretty good performers overall. There's a couple lighter ones, of course, but I feel like for a couple years or a year and a half there, we were getting so many lighter tone scents, and people started to kind of complain about it a little bit. And I wonder if they've taken notice, because most of these do seem to be quite good performers compared to a past couple seasons. So again here, better than average performance, very, very nice scent. And I would say the cardamom here, it's almost like they took whatever is creating warmth in Palo Santo and cinnamon. I think it might be a woodsy note, maybe sandalwood, I'm not sure. It's almost like there's just a teeny hint of sandalwood or some kind of warmth in here as well. And it's not a woodsy scent by any means. It is a fruity cranberry, slight cherry scent, mostly cranberry. But there's just a little bit of like almost sandalwood or something grounding this. It's really, really nice. Yeah, it is just very cranberry, but grown up. Really, really like it. I'll buy the heck out of this all winter long. This is a great one. I'm gonna repurchase a whole bunch of this. It may be a club bar for me over the summer. So there's that one. And then my favorite that I didn't see happening, but it became my favorite. This one is one that I think is probably not most people's favorite. I think it's kind of falling middle of the road for most people, but this is Frosted Cedar. This ended up being my favorite of the whole bunch. This is Red Delicious Apple adorns towering white cedar in a blanket of creamy vanilla. Now it could be that this is my favorite right now because it does feel the most early fall to me of all the bars. This is early fall or late winter to my nose. Yes, this is a ripe apple. And this is another one that stays the same on warm as it does on cold. This one did not change a whole lot. So what you smell in here is what you get. Yeah, you get a very ripe apple, and it's pretty. It's a pretty sweet ripe apple. Not a whole lot of cedar here. I would say not much cedar at all. And the creamy vanilla just softens this. It is smooth and soft and homey. It smells like someone's house that lives out of town and bakes, and they cook all their food from scratch, and it's just very like cozy, cuddly, homesteady. That is what this smells like. I love it. This one smells like my house. I love Frosted Cedar. It's sweet, it's homey, it's a little bit sophisticated, but lived in. I enjoy Frosted Cedar. I highly recommend. If you like apple scents, this one. If you don't like pine scents or tree scents, this one. So don't be afraid by the name Frosted Cedar. This is not a tree scent. I think they would have been better to call this like Homestead Apple or something like that. So there is that one. Frosted Cedar topped my list. Performance-wise, 2 days. 2 days. And like started out probably a 7 out of 10. So stayed at 7 out of 10 for about 24 hours, then it kind of petered out from there, but did very well. Very good performance, better than average. In my house at least. So that is my warm thoughts on all of the new scents that we've got so far. There is so much coming. September 1st, all of these come out along with the rest of the Harvest Collection, the rest of the Fall Winter catalog. If you're one of my customers, you do have Happy Mail on the way. I sent that out earlier this week. Well, yesterday. Gosh, it's been a long week already. It's only a couple days in, and I'm just like, it's been like days, right? No, it hasn't. It's been 2 days. So there are those. I'm gonna jump in here now and film the wax awards for the longer lasting ones and the strongest bars here of this bunch. So out of all of these new bars, there's 16 new bars in total that we talked about today. What are the ones that are open layout worthy, super strong, and the ones that are the longest lasting? So most of the bars, except for a few, fit into one of those categories, which is very impressive. Usually when we get a whole bunch of new bars, maybe 1 or 2 will be long lasting and 1 or 2 will be strong. Out of this bunch, we have a lot of open layout worthy bars, at least to my nose and in my experience. And we have quite a few fairly long lasting ones too. And by long lasting, I mean they last more than 24 hours, preferably verging on 2 days or more. By strong, I mean, will it hold up to the average sized open layout? So there's only a few here that didn't get into any category. I would say Cashmere Leaves is neither super strong nor super long lasting. Fall Into Love, neither super strong nor super long lasting, but a good performer, least average. White Pumpkin and Driftwood, neither super strong nor super long lasting, but a good performer, at least average. Dutch Apple Bread, not super long lasting, not super strong, but at least average. And Make Me Snickerdoodle, I would say about a solid average performer all around. Very good, very good. But we have quite a stack here that I think would pass as open layout worthy. So I'm talking average height ceilings, but a larger space. And I've kind of got these, I'll let you know whether I think it would be for a huge open layout if you have a very hard to scent space, or just an average sized open layout. Palo Santo and Cinnamon, I think this would be for an average open layout. I think this would do very well. It does seem to build in a space quite nicely, so I think especially if windows are closed, this is going to do well in most large spaces. Fall Feelin', I think this will do well in most large spaces as well. Very strong, also fairly long lasting. Frosted Cedar, I think will do well in most large spaces. Maybe not the largest of spaces, but I think for most open layouts, this will do very nicely. There's that one. Forever Fall from the Harvest Collection, I think will do very well in most any open layout. I think that's going to be great for even the larger open spaces. Golden Garland will do well for most open spaces, I think. Maybe again, not the largest of largest, but I think for most open layouts or large spaces, this will do very well. Frosty Air, I think this is going to do well in most open layouts as well. Very, very nice. It may not be as powerful as some of them, but I think this will do well in most open layouts. Cranberry and Cardamom, I would say average open layout. I don't know that this would stand up to a very large open layout, but I would say for an average open space or a general large space, this will do very nicely. And last we have Frightfully Delightful. I think this will do well in most open layouts or most large spaces. Maybe again, not the largest of the large, but for most, I think that's going to do great. Now, long lasting. These are not necessarily strong. The only thing here is that they have to last for more than like 36 hours, preferably 2 days or more. Frosty Air is going to do it. It's not going to be super strong the whole time. It starts out pretty good, but it's going to last a while. Forever Fall lasts at least 2 days in my home. And again, this is my home under these warming conditions. This may improve probably once things cool down and the windows are closed. Frosted Cedar did almost 2 days in my house. Fall Feelin' did 2 days. Good long lasting. Palo, Santo, and Cinnamon did 2 days and it could have gone longer. I took it out early. This will probably be one that goes for 3 or 4 days. That is a very, very long lasting performer. Red Currant Wreath, this one did 2 days. It could have maybe stretched to 3. It was getting kind of weak towards the end there. But I think if you are a person who doesn't mind a lighter scent but wants it to just kind of go for days, Red Currant Wreath will do that for you. Dashing. This one again, not a super strong scent, but it does kind of putter along nicely at an even strength. So Dashing is a good one for that. And Midnight Mahogany, again, kind of a similar strength level to Dashing. One of those ones where it's not super strong, but it is there and it just kind of putters along. So there is Midnight Mahogany as a long-lasting bar. So not bad all around. We have quite a few bars there that are open layout worthy and quite a few that go for a good length of time. So I would say with this round, you're getting a good bang for your buck because most of these bars are very good performers. Even the ones that didn't make the long lasting or strong list are still at least average performers. So I would say they did good here performance wise. I would love to hear your thoughts below if you've gotten to smell any of these yet. You're probably a consultant if you have. So share your thoughts below if you're a fellow consultant and let us know what your favorite of these are. If you're not a consultant, let us know which one you're most excited to try. I would love to hear that. And thank you so much for all your ideas on the little harvest goodie bags. Those little bags, I asked for ideas on what to do with those in my last video with the cold sniffs, and so many had great ideas that you shared in the comments for what to do with those little bags. So if you're looking for ideas for those little bags, go check out the comment section on that cold sniffs video. There are so many great ideas that so many of you shared. So thank you so much for that. I will talk to you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.